I think that I am a very passionate person to share what I do. I'm a very foodie lover, but I'm also a very music lover. A mix between music and cooking. I think I'm a rock star inside a chef. Hola, my name is Mariel Montero Sena, and I'm the owner of Luna, Cocina Mexicana. If I could be a mix, it will have to involve Mexican ingredients for sure, and different music. Yeah, lots of different music. One of the things that I really enjoy is traveling. I like to explore new cities, new ingredients, new cultures. Well, everything I think is related. Every time that you're in a new city, you will get a new vibe, a new style of people, and also different flavors. That's something that I'm always looking for. Related to food, for me, it's always like super special to have the most traditional recipe from the grandmother. That for me is like a little treasure going generation to generation. I'm from Puebla, Mexico. It's a city that's in the middle of the country, 2 hours northeast from Mexico City. Very, very good for food, by the way. 5 years to become a chef. In Mexico, it's a different kind of program. It's a bachelor's degree in culinary arts. A lot of fun. And I mean, being Mexican, it's all about food anyway, so yeah. I guess my main inspiration is my grandmother. Since I remember being a kid, I have always been in the kitchen with my grandma. Not just cooking traditional Mexican food, she was very international. And also from both of them, like my grandpa and grandma, the fact of each Sunday having a different experience in a different restaurant, that's how I grew up. One of my biggest heroes was Anthony Bourdain. I really enjoyed how he put together food with culture, but in a different level, right? Like he really got involved with the people that he share a meal. So that's quite, like I get very inspired by that, right? I feel that that's everything for food, is that. Like if you share your food with somebody, that's how you get a very, very nice connection. I think that's very important. That was my first book, Kitchens Confidential, in 2005. Actually, the first book that I was able to read in English, and it changed my life. So yeah, I think Grandma and Anthony Bourdain. My biggest dream since I'm a kid, it was related to cooking or restaurant related. I had the dream of the restaurant since I'm a kid. I actually used to play with my cousins, pretending to be the hostess, the waiter, the cook, everything. So I think it's something that I really wanted. It's familiar, it's happy place, right? Reminds me of my grandparents. I have all these pictures in my head of each restaurant that I went when I was a kid. And Grandpa used to say hi to all the owners. So that was very cool for me. That was the coolest thing ever, right? To talk to the owner, and he or she, most of the time him, was always telling a story or something, right? Like just that moment was like magical for me. So yeah, that was my dream since I'm a kid. So yeah. Canada is a place that I have in my head since I'm a kid. My grandpa always told me to go to Canada, that it was the new world. So as a gift from graduating culinary arts, I had my first trip to Canada, and it blew my mind. I really enjoyed all the mix of all different cultures at the same time. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I did live and travel Europe and other places, but For some reason, Canada just gave me that very welcoming feeling, right? Like you don't feel as a foreign because everybody's from somewhere else. That was very cool for me. And I didn't really choose Edmonton. I just applied as a foreign worker and they sent me here. I really enjoy this city. I like that it doesn't look like a city, really. It's green. Well, when it's not winter, but but it's more green than buildings and stuff, so I enjoy that. It's not just like, oh, I wake up and, oh, I'm gonna open a restaurant. No, that didn't happen that way. Obviously, it was my dream since I'm a kid, but it was a long process, right? Just the fact of coming as a foreign worker with a suitcase and full of clothes and nothing else, and you need to start building yourself up. But the thing in my head was always like, I'm gonna get my own, right? Like somehow I'll get there. As soon as I got the permanent resident, I was able to I started doing cheese from scratch because I realized that there was no queso fresco in the city. So if I wanted the queso fresco for my restaurant, I need to start it. So that's how I started too. It sounds like, oh, just, yeah, we opened the restaurant. No, it took a lot of effort, long hours, and it's like, it's not compared to just be the chef of a restaurant to really run the whole show. Like for me, it's a learning process, and each day, even after 8 years of operation, I still learn every day something new. So yeah. What can I say about Mexican food? It's not just tacos. There's way more than just tacos, enchiladas. There's way more. Like I said, I'm from Puebla. That's one of the biggest cities for food, actually, in all over Mexico. Everybody has their own desserts, special dishes. In my opinion, I feel that my top three will be Puebla, Oaxaca, and Yucatan. I feel that I wanted to share and to show people there's way more than tacos, right? So actually at Luna's menu, that it's really big, because I couldn't decide what not to put on the menu. I feel that this is a very nice way to learn different things, especially obviously like based on my city, based on what I used to cook with grandma. And that's actually the base of Luna, right? Like it's grandma style. It's all about that soul and heart that you put into the cooking. I'm not saying that the visual is not important, but for me it's more like taste, like all that love that you really feel in a tortilla soup, right? Like in a cold day, right? So that's what I wanted to bring back for me, first of all, and then to share it with everybody so everybody can also learn that there's way more than tacos and enchiladas, right? So yeah. But obviously Mexican food, come on, it's French and Mexican. They're like top in the world. There's a reason for that, right? So that's what I can say about Mexican food. It's a never-ending story. We talk all day, every day about food, as Mexicans have too, so part of us, I guess. Cooking by itself as an action, it's nurturing somebody else or yourself. All the energy that you put into certain dish is the energy that I feel the other person is going to receive. That's the way that I feel that I express myself, cooking. And every time that I'm in the restaurant and somebody tells me, oh, this reminds me of my mom, or oh, I just got back into also grandma's kitchen, that's when I know we're doing a good job, right? Like that's what I'm trying to bring back, like sharing that energy to somebody else. That warmth of a family meal, that's what I think we need. I need. I think the staff is very important. I think it's the most important thing. At the end, we are a family working together. Like I spend more time with my staff than anybody else. They need to be happy doing what they're doing. Like, for example, my prep cooks, that they have been since day one with me, I want them to be happy. my ladies in the morning, and I have a guy too, all of them Latin. The best part of that morning team is that they all get along, they have their music, they have their gossip time, and they're enjoying themselves, and I think that's very important because that's reflected in the food. And obviously everybody else too is important, right? My line cooks, my front of house, it's super important. Mexican people is very known for friendly. We're very friendly. We like to hug. We're very touchy. We like to party. We like to eat. So that's what I'm trying to get with all these staff together. And I do have a very nice mix of cultures too. But at the end, the people that have worked with me, and I have people, like I said, for 8 years with me, you become family. So I think that's the magic of Luna. Well, especially in winter, I like the fact that there's so many colors in this place that it gives you a different vibe compared to white outside. But also in the summer, it's just, I think that's what I get most of the time. They really feel in Mexico. They have the Mexican food, they have the Mexican ambiance, the music, the warmth from, like from the staff. We do have an open kitchen, so obviously you can hear sometimes a little bit of Mexican yelling back there, so that makes, I think, a little bit of extra spice on your meal. So I think, it's the whole experience, right? So not only the food, that, most of the time we have really good feedback about the food and the service too, but I think it comes together, right? It needs to be a team that way, right? So I think that's what you can expect from here, to really feel that you're back in Mexico for a couple of hours and then you go back to the cold or whatever is going on outside. But yeah. First of all, Luna, the moon. I love the moon, personally. I like the moon. It really, I feel that it's a very magical thing to see. It changes through the month. It's cool. It shines at night. I don't know. I just find it as a very cool thing. And then the word, I really like the word, how it sounds, Luna. I like the word. But also something that I relate is the fact that when I talk to grandma sometimes at night, we can see the same moon even if we're in different countries, right? Like obviously I'm in Canada, she's in Mexico, but sometimes, especially when it's full moon, most of the time she will mention, "Oh, ya viste la luna? Did you see the moon?" So I think it relates me to her in that way. I think it's something that we can share at the same time, even if we're far away. So that's I don't know, I like it. I like the word, I like how it sounds, and I like what it means. So I feel that the whole concept came together that way. Sharing the food that I grew up with. I'm from Puebla. I miss a lot the street food. I miss grandma's pipián on Friday night, pastel azteca on Sunday night, and also at the same time, I'm showing to the city of Edmonton that there's way more than tacos and enchiladas. And also I feel that the purpose of this place is to give a space for people. They come from work, they come from wherever, doesn't matter. You're welcome here, and you can have a very nice meal and feel that warmth for a couple of hours, and then you can go back to your crazy world or whatever is going on. Just to go back to that comfort part of things, right? Like family, like that warmth that I miss from my city. So that's what I wanted to share. First of all, I think it's the place itself. It's not going to be your traditional Mexican decor, that's for sure. And also the menu. I do have the basic of Mexican food, but what it makes this place unique is that I'm bringing very special meals that I grew up with. I feel that that's what it makes this place so unique. Like the different food that we prepare and the way that we prepare it, right? Because we're doing from scratch our own cheese. Most of it is from scratch. So yes, it has to do with how we prepare the meals and what kind of meals. You're not gonna find, I think, somewhere else chicharrón de queso. Right now I haven't seen it. I don't see pipián, I don't see tacos árabes. So those are the specific dishes or street food that I grew up with. So I think that's what it's making this place pretty unique. Different Mexican restaurants, they have different owners coming from different cities, right? And that's what it also makes it very cool, right? Because like I said, you have 32 cities in Mexico with different food. So there's so much you can do, right? Like I said, you have your basics, right? Like all in Mexico, we all have a kind of enchilada, we all have a kind of taco, right? But each city has their own thing. So I feel that that's cool too. Cooking takes a long process for everything, right? Like it's a lot of effort, but it's worth it in the way of like how the plates are gonna taste, right? So we do from scratch, long hours cooking, traditional way. So everything helps in that way, right? Like, because I mean, yeah, tacos, everybody can do tacos, right? Like I'm not saying it's not a big effort, but there's so many more things. Like mole sauce takes long hours, and it's from scratch, and all this process that you need to go through, right? So I feel that that's why this menu is quite unique, and other than being part of the food that I grew up in Puebla, that it's quite different from other cities in Mexico. So that's what it makes it special and unique. Yeah. Well, we have been in this restaurant for 8 years, and we have been through a whole pandemic, COVID, and I think that's when you realize how much you impact people. If we didn't have that community that we have built, we wouldn't be able to survive COVID, for example. And the other thing that I have realized is also the restaurant, for so many clients or families, it's been part of their lives. I have seen kids grow up. I have seen mothers pregnant, they cannot have margaritas, right? So all that is part of, you become part of their lives that way. So I think that's the best part of this business. You do see couples having their first dates, and then they even want to celebrate their wedding in the restaurant. They want to rent it out and have, because that was their first date. So yeah, this place holds 8 years of memories and traditions from different families, and it's cool to be part of that. Well, for me, something very cool is that I have bands coming to have dinner in here. Because of the love that I have for music as well, I've been able to combine the restaurant with a music venue that is in front of us. So for me, the coolest thing is when the bands come and have dinner and I treat them, they sign the piano. That for me is one of the coolest thing ever. That's an achievement for me. We have been, yes, Restaurant of the Year last year. It was cool too, but personally, for me to have musicians here is like, wow, like super cool. Like, yeah, that's a bonus for me. I feel for everybody else too, but for me especially, it's like, woo, cooking for your rock stars, come on. Who can do that? I can. So yeah, that's my biggest achievement with my restaurant, I think. I'm proud of that. Hola, so if you want to experience more than tacos and enchiladas, I got the place for you. So in here, you will be able to experience all the family dinners that I grew up with, the street food that I grew up with, and the best margaritas in town. So come and check us out anytime.